Good evening. My name is Tara Donnelly, and this is my presentation for the Architecture 350 class. My architect is Natalie DeBlois. Natalie was around from 1921 to 2013. She left a very great impact in the world of architecture that is still around today and still influences many today. Some of the impact that she left has been left in special collections around the country. This includes the Natalie DeBlois Architectural Collection, other special collections that include correspondence, notes, clippings, project photographs, sketches, and more of her architectural projects. There is also the Natalie DeBlois Oral History Art Institute of Chicago Archival Collections. Here is a slide on some biographical information on Natalie DeBlois. Her birthplace was Paterson, New Jersey. She was educated in Western College for Women in Oxford, Ohio between 1939 and 1940, and then transferred to Columbia University School of Architecture to get her Bachelor's of Architecture in 1944. This was a unique program because it only required 1 year of college before transferring into the architecture program. She also was benefited had better chances to get into the Columbia University at this time because it was around the time of World War II and the draft, and they were especially accepting of women, which they didn't usually be. And honors and awards that she received included a Fulbright Scholarship and a Fellow American Institute of Architects, among others. She also had an interest of architecture from a young age. By the time she was 10, DeBlois had already decided to become an architect, which is a career path supported by her father, a civil engineer, that encouraged her interest in buildings. 2 other teenage experiences also left their mark in her life. In 1937, her understanding of architecture's social dimensions broadened when she walked through a full-scale, multi-story model of a typical New Law tenement house constructed inside the nave of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. In 1939, her vision of what modern architecture might look like expanded when she attended the New York World's Fair in Flushing Meadows. Her legacy. In her time as a senior designer at Skidmore, Owings & Merrill, or SOM, she assisted in designing multiple of the firm's best post-war structures. Throughout her journey to be an architect, she faced many challenges by being a woman in a male-dominated environment. And she was also unique in that in junior high school, while some of the other girls would take home economics classes, she had to get special permission to do mechanical drawing with the other boys. And when she graduated from Columbia in 1944, only 5 of her 18 classmates were women. And even though she did not experience much discrimination while she was in school, she did when she arrived in the workforce. One example was when DeBlois said no to a colleague's romantic advances. He then reported her as an office distraction for him, which led to her getting fired. Another couple challenges she faced was the fact that she was never promoted to be a partner of SOM, even after being successful for years having handled many high-profile responsibilities and projects. She was also a divorced working woman with 4 children to support. In her time at SOM, some of the major projects she assisted with included the United Nations building, the Lincoln Center, the Terrace Plaza Hotel that received national attention for being stylish with modern amenities, the Lever House, the Connecticut General Campus, the Union Carbide headquarters, and the Pepsi-Cola building. The 2 latter ones I further review in a moment. Even though Gordon Bunshaft, a SOM partner, would frequently be associated with these projects, DeBlois was usually the senior designer or the project designer. She had to make sure to claim that bit of credit and not be overlooked. More on her legacy. In her later years, in 1980, she began teaching at the University of Texas at Austin, otherwise known as UT Austin. Being a professor had been a goal of hers for years, but was difficult to do due to discrimination of being a female in a male-dominated world. She rose above the discrimination, however, at UT Austin and helped clear the path for future female Texas architects. She retired in 1993. They also created a scholarship in her honor that is still around to this day. She became a great early advocate for women in architecture by being a founding member of the Chicago Women in Architecture and being a member of many other women in architecture groups. and the picture on this slide is a bird's eye view of the University of Texas at Austin. The first project I've decided to focus on is the Pepsi-Cola building at 59th Street that was completed in 1960. It is 10 stories with a setback penthouse and 2 basement levels. It is considered one of Du Bois's most elegant essays in corporate modernism, and it, however, tends to be overshadowed by some other more impressive Somme buildings on Park Avenue. The picture on this slide is the Pepsi-Cola headquarters exterior in 1960, New York City, designed by Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill with senior designer Natalie DeBlois. The Pepsi-Cola building continued. A striking feature is its curtain wall of matte finished anodized aluminum and plate glass with many eye-shaped mullions projecting for 9 stories from the otherwise flat facade. The verticality was further emphasized by custom interior vertical blinds that the architect specified. The window panes are also unique in this building by being 13 feet wide. This was the largest pane size available at the time. The large windows make the building seem extremely transparent and give it its unique look of a glowing box at night when the lights are on. This structure utilized newer building materials and methods. It also looks very different when compared to other buildings neighboring it. In the 1960s, this structure stands out as very modern, light, and sleek, while its neighbors are heavier with lots of stone and much smaller windows allowing less transparency. They're also darker and more dull, while the Pepsi-Cola building is a lot shinier with the metal and so much glass. The image attached on this slide is also the Pepsi-Cola headquarters exterior in 1960, New York City, designed by Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill with senior designer Natalie DeBlois. The second project I've decided to focus on is the Union Carbide headquarters, which was completed in 1960. This was the largest project that DeBlois had worked on in this period. William Jordan had called it the best of the architecture of bureaucracy. This building has 52 stories and 1.5 million square feet of space. It was one of the largest buildings erected in New York. This was also the most structurally complex building DeBlois had worked on to date, with its size, location, and train tracks beneath its Park Avenue site. DeBlois received national media attention when she appeared on the CBS show To Tell the Truth, when she revealed that she was the building's senior architectural designer. The image attached on this slide is of the Union Carbide building in New York City in May 1961 that was designed by Skidmore, Owings, and Merrill, or Somme, with senior designer Natalie DeBlois. The photo was from the Waldford Astoria Hotel across the street. To conclude, some of the major findings I had while doing research on Natalie DeBlois was that she broke down social barriers in the architecture world by showing that women could work in the highest levels of the profession. She also greatly contributed to the design of some of the most iconic buildings of the 20th century United States and helped define American modernism with its sleek and sophisticated design. I really liked researching this architect because of her interesting past and her great influence and change that she has created in the architectural world. To further research, I'd like to find some more information on her and further explore the other female architects and the website provided to see how architecture has become influenced by women over time and the great challenges they've overcome and still have to overcome. My final slide is my bibliography with my 2 sources in MLA format. Thank you for listening to my presentation and have a great day.